The Panama Canal is in trouble. Big trouble. You've seen the headlines, the viral videos, ships backed up in long queues, waiting for days. Water levels are falling. Freight costs are skyrocketing. And ripple effects are shaking global trade. The once mighty canal is drying up. And while Panama scrambles to survive, other nations are eyeing a massive opportunity. We're talking about a $270 billion trade route. That's how much cargo passes through the Panama Canal every year. And with nearly $5 billion in annual revenue on the line, the race is on. From mega rail corridors to bold new sea routes, countries are building their own alternatives to snatch a piece of the global logistics pie. So what's happening to the Panama Canal? And who's got the best shot at replacing it? Let's dive into the race to build the next great trade route. The history of the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is one of the greatest engineering feats in human history. Opened in 1914, it connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, cutting shipping times by weeks. Before it existed, ships had to sail all the way around the southern tip of South America through the treacherous Strait of Magellan. That journey was long, dangerous, and expensive. Back in 1902, the U.S. decided to change the game. They launched a colossal canal project in Central America, aiming to cut the maritime journey by nearly 12,000 kilometers. But construction was brutal. More than 200 million cubic meters of earth had to be moved. Steam-powered shovels, dynamite, and sheer human grit made it happen. Tragically, nearly 6,000 workers died from heat stroke, landslides, and disease. One of the biggest engineering challenges, a 30-meter elevation difference between ocean levels. Engineers solved it by building a complex system of locks and gates, allowing ships to climb and descend through the canal. By 1914, the canal was complete. It cost $375 million back, then equal to over $120 billion today. And it worked. By the end of year one, over 1,000 ships had passed through. Over time, the canal became essential to global trade, handling nearly 5% of it. Present-day crisis. Fast forward to today, and the canal is in crisis. Its lifeline, water, is running out. The number of ships allowed through has dropped from 36 to 38 per day down to just 24. Larger ships must carry less cargo due to lower water levels and draft restrictions. That's made shipping costs for some routes are up by 400%. At the heart of the problem is Gatun Lake, the canal's main water source. It's at its lowest level in 60 years. And this isn't just a one-off drought. Climate change is making water scarcity a recurring nightmare. Meanwhile, global trade is growing. Ships are getting bigger, and the canal is struggling to keep up. Global response. So, what happens if the Panama Canal can no longer handle the load? Other countries aren't waiting to find out. Across the Americas, new megaprojects are emerging, each one aiming to become the next Panama Canal. Let's start with one of the most advanced contenders. Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor. Mexico is building something big and fast. It's called the Interoceanic Corridor, a 308-kilometer railway that cuts across southern Mexico. Instead of sailing between oceans, cargo is offloaded at one coast, transported by train, and reloaded at the other. The route starts at the port of Coatzacoalcos on the Gulf of Mexico and ends at Salina Cruz on the Pacific. This setup bypasses the long, risky journey around South America and avoids the Panama Canal bottleneck. But it's not just a railway. The project includes major port upgrades, making it a full-scale logistics hub designed for global shipping. And here's the kicker, it's already under construction. Other competitors like the Nicaragua Canal, Colombia's Land Bridge, and the Arctic Northern Sea Route. The Panama Canal is fighting for survival, but the competition is heating up fast. Will Mexico's rail corridor take the crown? Or will another mega project rise to the top? This is more than just a race, it's the future of global trade. Subscribe to stay updated on the next chapters in the battle to replace the Panama Canal. Mexico's interoceanic corridor may not fully replace the Panama Canal, but it's already showing promise. With an estimated cost of $7.5 billion, the project is expected to handle up to 1.4 million TES 20-foot equivalent units annually by 2033. But here's the thing, it works differently. Instead of a direct water passage, it depends on cargo being transferred between ships and trains. So, success will depend entirely on how efficiently those transfers are handled. Still, with rail lines already operational and in some cases proving faster than the Panama Canal during bottlenecks, you could argue Mexico's corridor is ahead in the race. For now. Next contender, Colombia's Atlantic Pacific Railway. Next up, Colombia. While not framed as a direct replacement, Colombia's bold new proposal could play a major supporting role in regional trade. The country plans to build a 240-kilometer railway connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The route would run between Cupica and Atrato, skirting the Panama border. Estimated cost: between $7 and $13 billion. Right now, it's in the feasibility stage, but it's part of a larger vision to revamp Colombia's aging rail system with over 1,800 kilometers of track planned for reactivation. But it won't be easy. The proposed railway cuts through ecologically sensitive areas, requiring detailed consultations with indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities. Environmental concerns, funding issues, and tricky terrain have raised red flags. Some critics argue that Colombia should instead focus on upgrading existing railways rather than building new ones through protected areas. But others remain hopeful. Feasibility studies suggest the construction isn't overly complex. The real question is, can Colombia overcome the hurdles and stay in the race? The giant of the race, Nicaragua's Mega Canal. Now, let's talk about the most ambitious and controversial contender, Nicaragua's Mega Canal. This project isn't just a new trade route, it's a colossal vision to rival the Panama Canal head-on. The plan? A 278-kilometer waterway connecting Bluefields on the Caribbean with Puerto Corinto on the Pacific, cutting through Lake Nicaragua along the way. That's more than 3 times longer than the Panama Canal. The projected cost? A jaw-dropping $64.5 billion, making it the most expensive infrastructure project of its kind. And it's built to be a monster. Planned lock dimensions are 510 meters long, 77 meters wide, and 27 meters deep, far bigger than Panama's, and capable of handling the largest ships in the world, including mega container ships and bulk carriers the current canal can't accommodate. But here's the catch: money and environment. A Chinese company, HKND, was once the project's primary backer, but they've since pulled out, and no new major investors have stepped up. That leaves the project stuck in financial limbo. And then there's the environmental cost. The canal would slice through Central America's most sensitive ecosystems, including Lake Nicaragua, the region's largest fresh water source. Experts warn of threats to biodiversity, water supplies, and displacement of tens of thousands of people. The government has proposed a new route, but skepticism remains high. With uncertain funding, major environmental risks, and logistical challenges, the Nicaragua Canal remains more of a dream than a reality. So, is Nicaragua like a race team watching from the sidelines, full of potential, but nowhere near the starting line? Global trade at a crossroads. As the Panama Canal battles climate change, shipping surges, and water scarcity, the world is watching closely. From Mexico's high-speed rail corridor, to Colombia's cautious railway, to Nicaragua's bold mega canal, each project is aiming to shape the future of global trade. But in this $270 billion race, it's not just about size or ambition. It's about execution, efficiency, and resilience in a rapidly changing world. Who will win? Only time and the tides will tell. More contenders enter the race. While Mexico, Colombia, and Nicaragua are leading the charge, several new challengers are entering the race. Panama itself isn't giving up so easily. It's planning a land-based backup of proposed rail and truck corridor known as the Panama Land Bridge. This route aims to connect the Atlantic and Pacific coasts without relying on the drought-stricken Gatun Lake. Set to handle up to 5 million containers annually by 2045, this land bridge could become a vital safety valve, easing pressure on the canal during peak shipping seasons and water shortages. Honduras joins the race. Meanwhile, in Honduras, an interoceanic railway is taking shape. The plan? Connect Amapala on the Pacific with Puerto Costilla on the Caribbean, plus a branch linking to El Salvador's La Union port. Backed by trade agreements with China, this railway is part of the region's growing shift toward land-based logistics aimed at moving goods faster, cheaper, and with less environmental risk. Maritime wild card, the Arctic route. And then there's a wild card, the Northwest Passage. Once locked by Arctic ice, this sea route is now slowly opening due to climate change, offering the shortest path between the North Pacific and North Atlantic. Could this icy corridor become the next frontier of global shipping? It's uncertain, but it's one more reason the Panama Canal can't afford to stand still. Panama's fight to stay on top, and Panama, it's not stepping aside quietly. The Panama Canal Authority (ACP) is rolling out both short-term solutions and long-term mega upgrades to secure its future. At the center of their strategy, the Indio River Dam project, a $1.6 billion reservoir designed to provide reliable water even during severe droughts. Set for completion between 2030 and 2031. This dam aims to support at least 36 ship transits daily, a critical boost for the canal's sustainability. But it's not just about building new reservoirs. The ACP is already implementing operational upgrades. A new booking system limiting each customer to one daily slot to reduce congestion. Water-saving measures in the new locks, cutting water use by 7% per transit. And more conservation efforts showing early signs of success. Financially, the canal remains strong. In 2024, it brought in $4.99 billion in revenue, with net profits rising 8% to $3.45 billion, proving it's still a heavyweight in global trade. Who will win the race? The future of global trade is shifting. The Panama Canal is at a crossroads, facing fierce rivals, climate challenges, and the pressure to evolve. As countries push forward with bold new megaprojects and Panama upgrades its own infrastructure, the big question remains: can the Panama Canal maintain its crown, or is the world ready for a new leader? Which of these alternatives do you think has the best shot at replacing the canal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching Civil Engineering Edge, your go-to channel for smart, global infrastructure stories. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the world of mega projects and engineering marvels. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed.